Our group norms for today are to listen respectfully to each other, to make decisions on the basis of consensus, and fully support each other's efforts to improve student learning.
All right, we're gonna look at the essential questions. So the first one, what is it we expected them to learn? And the two critical standards, how about we start with our reading one? Which was story elements, one RL 2.3. Students can identify character, setting, and plot. We'll look at the data.
Okay, so how did we do on the assessment first? RL 2.3.
Mine did really good. I had one student who struggled a little bit with beginning, middle, end, but otherwise everybody else was fine.
That's where my students struggled. They could get the character, they could get the setting, but it was that plot. Beginning, middle, end.
And I think it's just having that higher expectation for the beginning, middle, and end, wanting them to really show what they know.
And I think making them do the complete sentences and having to write it out
Right.
for some of mine.
Almost all of mine are at grade level on that as well, and I had one student, and it was the same thing. It was being able to retell the plot.
I got a few 2.5, so they're like right there on the bubble. So really close.
I have a couple of 2s and a 1, but they both get services during our intervention time. Otherwise, the rest of mine are 3s.
So what do we think worked well to make this standard get data this week?
I think we've covered this one in an intervention before.
Yeah.
So they've already gotten extra support, the ones who maybe didn't score well before.
I would say we've had this as a goal for a while too.
Yeah,
Throughout
the
the year, some,
repetition.
with it being at the end of the year, I think that helped improve our scores too. Most of them have been able to connect it.
We talked about how they struggle. Were there any ways to improve the assessment?
And on that assessment was one where we really didn't have it leveled
Right.
yet. So that I think for looking into next year, having that 2, 3, 4, where they can actually go above and beyond would be
Right.
helpful for our kiddos.
Which is why we only have 3s.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And maybe a way we could do is maybe instead of it being so abstract for them to come up with, maybe have them a choice, you know, A, B, or C,
Right.
and pick it, and then maybe draw a picture to go with it. That way, you know, they're not just randomly circling, but then if the picture goes with it, then it's like, oh, okay, we know that they're getting it a little bit
I
deeper.
agree.
Okay. Teaching strategies, I think we've all kind of taught the same ways because it's been so repetitive. Interventions, do we have anyone that needs to go in an intervention group for this skill?
See which ones mine are already being serviced.
My one is serviced already, okay.
Mine is as well.
I have one, she's a 2.5, and she is one that is not being serviced during intervention. She potentially could go if we decide to have that as an intervention group. If not, she's super close and I'm not worried about it.
I have 2. And they're
Okay.
like I said, on the bubble, 2.5. So again, it's one where I can either hit it in the classroom again, or if we feel make it an intervention group.
So that's maybe 3, 4
Yeah.
kids.
We could always do an intervention group for those students, maybe just for like 2 or 3 days rather than the entire week like we normally do. Reassess midweek
really
and
work
see
on
if
that.
they need
Really work
to
on
have the full week.
details.
And just the plot part even, maybe
Mhm.
not, they'll just own that character and setting.
Right.
I think we should do that.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna move to our math one real quick.
Or you want to go ahead and do the names?
Let me get the names for that group.
I'll put them in.
Okay.
Alright, mine is Shalice.
Okay.
Oh, mine is Catalina and Ismail.
You didn't have that, right?
Mine's being serviced.
My other one is
Yeah, being serviced.
Alrighty. Ready for math?
Let's do it.
Okay. Then, again, what do we expect them to learn? Essential question. 1 and 3, it was students can find the value of pennies, nickels, and dimes. So let's look at our data.
Mine's a little bit more all over the place on this
So is mine. I had some that can either do it as 3.54, or they were ones.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because we hadn't hit, money, we hadn't had that for a while, and then, in our everyday math, and then we just kinda had it, I think, was it a day maybe? It wasn't very
I feel like that
long.
standard with everyday math is kind of.
It
It's
just
a
got
spiral,
components,
yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I have a couple, like I said, still on the bubble, that 2.5.
I do too. I have 2 1s, but they're
I've got
labeled being serviced. The rest are 2.5s if they're not on level, so they're almost there.
Yeah.
I think I have 3 that are not being serviced that could probably use an intervention.
I think where mine are struggling is when they get that mixed point.
Yes.
I mean, they can do the pennies by themselves on the assessment, they can do the nickels, the dimes, it's putting the 3 together, but.
And on mine, they oftentimes are skip counting correctly. It's just they confuse the nickels and the
Yes,
dimes and the
yes.
pennies
Yes.
when they're in the middle of it.
Or the bows on it, quite a few that.
Mm-hmm.
down.
The hairs and the bows.
So,
All right, so
it's a lot of work to wear.
what works? Well, I think the hairs and bows helps a lot, especially for the
Absolutely.
struggling students because it gives them a visual.
I think I also, for my kiddos, using that P, that D, and that N
Labeling
instead of
them.
the actual coin itself.
Well, especially in black and white, it's so
Mhm.
confusing for them.
Yes.
And the everyday math labels it that way too, so that would make it stay consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that. All right, perfect. So you're good on resources
How to
for.
improve the assessment, I like how that one was
Oh.
leveled. this
Yes.
time.
I know, and I think
2,
that's
3,
where
4.
they're more spread out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because we've got a couple 4s now for that.
All right.
And so resources for intervention, I've got
Yeah, plenty.
several, so do share.
All right, and we'll get a group together. I feel like that one's gonna have a handful of kiddos in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, all of mine are being serviced during that time, so I won't have any names to put in that.
Oh, so are mine.
I have 3.
All of mine are,
You know what, all mine are being serviced too already.
so we'll have 3 for that. It's okay.
3, I have 3 for me that are not being
Give
serviced.
them to me.
Katie, Madison, 2 Ds. And, actually Shalice, but she's already in the.
She's in that one. Which one
other
would you
one.
rather her be in?
You know what, I would rather her be in the money because her reading one, she was just a 2.5, so she
Okay.
was right there.
And I'll move her down.
Thank you.
Are the rest of the intervention groups good to stay as they are? So I'm just gonna take a real fast look at your list and just make sure that
Swansea still has Brianna, Judah, and Madison, 2 Ts.
Okay.
And you have math facts.
Mhm.
So we've still got Elijah Jasek, Mason Kai, Haley Elena, Shalice is not in that. Tori and Damien, your Damien.
Mhm.
Those are probably all fine to stay, I think.
When Tori was the one that moved to money.
Okay,
Yep, so we can take her out
okay.
of addition.
The rest of them are book clubs, kids are permanent.
Yes.
Then reading would be, you said, what did you say? Shalice, Catalina, and Israel. And then with the sugar money would be Katie, Madison, 2 Ds, and Shalice.
all right.
Let's move on to our next essential question, maybe looking at those interventions. How will we know when they have learned it? These ones that we put in those interventions.
Well, we give the assessment at the end of the interventions, and then
Hopefully they'll
adjust the scores accordingly, yeah.
And the only thing is on the math facts, I've been doing a pre-test on Monday and the test on Friday, just for comparison's sake, because we don't have the data like we do for the other
And,
job.
for the kiddos that are already being serviced, just take them out in our classroom at a separate time.
Can we
Yes.
say yes?
During our math stations, set up the one-on-one with the teacher. All right. How will we respond when they don't? So if they don't get it after this intervention?
Say we look at the data again, you know, see,
Maybe the assessment.
yeah, look at the assessment, what do they need? What worked, what didn't work in the intervention, and if that intervention needs to be extended for the next week, then it
Maybe
makes
even
Because I
sense.
know, like, for the reading one, maybe they're struggling with that really, with the writing piece, so maybe if we just have them
Orally tell it.
tell it to us, or
Mhm.
do make it multiple choice, being.
Or maybe even setting an individual goal for that if it's still something that they can't. Okay.
And then how will we respond when they already know it? So when it was fours.
Sort of find the
Go
challenge.
above and beyond,
Yeah.
maybe on their personal goals. Maybe for money, maybe adding dollars along with the next one.
Mhm.
And I think that's where a lot of them have already gotten their fours, because their personal goals include above and
Mhm.
beyond what that standard is that we're assessing.
And that story retelling, maybe we could even do that in like just to retell it in a completely different way, maybe they,
So maybe adding that four piece to that
yeah,
assessment.
maybe
because
they
really don't
do it in a
know
more
how
challenging
to-
way.